Hello, everybody. I'm Carmelo, as always, from Arcanum Ventures, and this is my good friend slash co-founder, Sasha. And we had an idea for a video. Let's call it I Test Wednesday, where we want to just take a look at a hyped project or something that's either launching soon or already launched. In this case, we chose a project that just launched. We wanted to take a little bit of a deeper look at CryptoGPT and see what it's all about. We kind of have a theory that it's capitalizing on the latest AI trend that anybody that's on Twitter or LinkedIn knows that AI is trending right now. So we're trying to see if there's substance to it or if it's just riding that hype wave. And I guess we could start off by just looking at, I don't know, coin market cap or crypto rank, whatever we got up there, to see some of that price
Yeah, so
movement.
let's take a deep dive. Yeah, so there's been a lot of buzz behind crypto GPT, I think for good reason. It seems to be the first crypto token launch in a while that's generated like a good amount of upward price action. And like we're currently sitting at 19x from the public price. So the public price was half a
It's a
penny.
nice
And
chart.
right now we're up to, yeah, almost 10 cents. And so yeah, and the funny thing here is that like this really just kept on going over the span of 1 week. We're looking at like a $300 million fully diluted market cap with the token supply. So like yeah, we haven't seen something like this in a while. It's come down a little bit since, but yeah, so these are the numbers that we're seeing.
Yeah, I think even in peak bull market, we didn't really see healthy charts like this. It's usually a big spike and then a slow tapering off into oblivion. But so far, this looks to be pretty sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, it would be interesting to dive into like the on-chain data, the transactions, the trades, all that stuff a little bit later and see what's really
Yeah.
happening behind the scenes on the blockchain. But yeah, let's go ahead and I guess I don't really know a lot about crypto GPT. I'm not sure how much you know about it. I've heard a lot about it. I've heard about Chain GPT. I've heard about all these new token startups that are like insert
GPT.
word GPT.
I,
Yeah, so I guess, let's run through the website and like try to get an idea for what it is.
okay. Yeah, I mean, the idea here, the reasoning behind this kind of content series, if you want to call it that, is try to see how much DD you can do in 10 minutes. Okay, an eye test, because we have a theory that, I mean, it's not a theory, it's a fact. You can't figure out, or you shouldn't be able to figure out if you want to invest in something in 10 minutes, but you can figure out if you don't want to invest something in 10 minutes. So that's kind of the general thing we're taking a look at here.
Yeah, so I think let's see how much we can learn in 10 minutes. I mean, we'll start the clock like right now. We'll figure out like what this is about. We'll take a look at some numbers. We'll take a look at the investor docs. We'll take a look at like token economy, distribution, utility, maybe even some socials in the team. So, yeah, boom. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I mean, just at first glance, I can see at the top, like, I could start with the tip top. They're listed on PancakeSwap and a bunch of, second tier exchanges, none of the major ones. So PancakeSwap means it's probably on Binance Smart Chain. I don't know if it's on Ethereum. I assume it is, but oh yeah, there's Uniswap, a little bit harder to see. Okay, so it's on at
Two
least two
chains.
chains. Uniswap obviously handles like a few layer twos, like Optimism and Polygon, so it could be on multiple chains. I'm not sure yet. It's a ZK layer two, so I'm not sure what that means in this context because, as far as I know, there's no layer twos built on top of uh, Binance Smart Chain, but maybe they're talking about Ethereum, I would imagine. And
Yeah, what I would guess is that I would think that like they're building a sort of layer two based network that uses zero knowledge proofs or zero knowledge sort of technology, maybe like a roll up technology to package transactions or hide transactions. But I mean that would mean that maybe they're leaning towards like storing data on chain,
mhm.
which I don't think anyone's really figured out yet because storing data on chain is extremely um, like resource intensive, and it's going to use a lot of gas, a lot of data. processing power to store that on like a decentralized network.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that is a pretty good use case for it because a layer two is that's how you scale Ethereum. You put all of that transaction and all that data on the layer two instead of on the layer one, so it is less resource intense and less costly. And then you leave the security and the other aspects of the network to Ethereum for as the settlement layer. But I'm not sure, there's a lot of layer twos coming out this year, so I'm not sure if this is a viable layer two. It's hyper specific and focused on data, specifically within the context of AI. So I don't know why. I mean, I'm not sure why they didn't just create a data focused layer two instead of an AI data focused one. Because I mean, I have theories, but yeah, that'd be my guess that they're really trying to capitalize on AI right
That's a
now.
great That's a great question. And look at this. I scroll down to like the second block of hero text, and what do we see? Like the blockchain for monetizing your data with AI. Turn every task in your daily life into a source of income. This is marketing clearly at retail. Although, like a network like this would very clearly be way more useful or valuable in a sort of B2B context or an enterprise technology sort of context, right? But it seems like they're marketing towards like a retail crowd. Turn every task in your daily life into a source of income. Monetize your data with AI.
Hmm.
I don't know how they'd use AI to monetize your data, but there are a number of cryptocurrency startups, blockchain startups, even apps in general that do monetize data um, through like browsing activity, VPN activity, etc. This already exists, so it sounds like they're competing with some of these products, like these tech products and platforms and browsers, etc., that already have an audience. No like mention on how AI is being used yet.
Actually, I mean, yeah, that's a good question about the AI, but like right there, by the look of it, I think, the reason why they're building a layer two is because they want to host apps on that chain. So they say fitness, dating, games, education. So by incentivizing teams to build apps on their network and then letting users allow that data to be used for sold in packages to companies that might want that data, at least they can safely say that any data generated from these games, these apps, is going to good use and is being sold with the permission of the user. So, I mean, it's not a terrible idea.
No, it's not.
But on
So
the
like
flip
I think
side
we
of
have like
that,
some understanding.
the flip side of that is like you have to build good, viable apps that can compete with the major existing apps. Like if you're going to create a fitness app or a dating app, they got to compete with the big dogs. So I don't know why I would use one of these apps as opposed to the ones that already exist, even if I'm paranoid about my data being used against my will without me getting any monetary value from it.
Well, here's a good reason why you might want to use them because they have NFTs that feature miniature Daft Punk people inside of pills.
Take my money.
So that's already catching my attention. I don't know how NFTs are used. Unique on-chain NFTs that store your activity data. Okay, so they're storing data inside aesthetic NFTs. I mean this, so I don't know. I mean, you know me, I'm a skeptic. I'm very skeptical when it comes to like even just the name Crypto GPT. They're obviously trying to gain attention from like a high ticket item that's been like taking the internet by storm. And we've seen that before in a sort of like in like a bull run. So I'm very skeptical about what this actually is. And to be honest, like this gives me like vibes back in like 2021 where you would use a bunch of buzz terms, you would use like a lot of sort of complex sentences that sound pretty good, but they're all still kind of vague and you don't really know exactly what you're doing. And so what I'm seeing here in this website is that like they're not successfully explaining or boiling down the concept to someone that can be like explained in, let's say, a 5-second sentence. So I'm definitely not getting that here.
I mean, I think they do a decent job. I mean, obviously the chart is the indicator there, but the two major million-dollar questions I have, one is how do they monetize this into a business model? And two, where's the AI? I don't see any AI. I think it's a cool idea without the AI actually, but then they're teasing this concept of AI throughout this website, and I still don't understand where the AI aspect comes in.
Well, maybe this will shed some light. We've got the light paper here, and the light paper is actually in a funny one-pager format that's like a mile long. So maybe we'll see something here. Data and AI. Yes, we know what data is. Yes, we're familiar with all of these projects.
Ah,
Yes, the earned system ecosystem is not sustainable. So they're definitely targeting their marketing towards a sort of like the crowd that understands play to earn, etc. to earn is like not sustainable, but also they're familiar with this concept.
yeah. I mean, I agree with what they've said so far. I'm waiting for the hammer to drop. I don't know what their solution is to the earn not being a sustainable business model. I don't know. That still doesn't answer like where that money's coming from to pay its users, unless they plan on hemorrhaging emissions until they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, so let's see if you can boil it down to like where's the business model, you know? Um, application of a ZK rollup, obviously, like there's some different um there are a couple different applications they can use that here for like data privacy, but also scalability in a layer two. Um, ecosystem income. Okay, here we go. So gas, transaction fees. So if we're talking about income, they are considering gas on their layer two as income, and they're considering that because it's essentially transaction fee.
Hmm.
They're collecting income in the form of their own native token, which they already hold a lot of. So that's not very diversified.
Yep, it's a good point.
GPT data market, I'm assuming that they're going to somehow monetize user data and pay out rewards with their own native token for monetizing this data. So maybe they're diversifying revenues by selling data in fiat currency or stablecoin cryptocurrency or something. In return, users that are offering up their data to be sold on a data market are being compensated in their own native token. This is a pretty smart way to create a sort of roundabout liquidation strategy for your own treasury supply.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm still
Core apps, my one.
Yeah, I'm still not totally convinced because this is completely dependent on the core apps they're able to develop. And if you're already developing an impressive app, why would you choose this chain over one that already exists that has a huge community that's been around for a while, knows how to navigate this space better than a new team does?
Yeah, for sure. So the core apps are a big deal. And also like it's core apps are it's not like just like you said, it's not something that you just like list on a pitch deck. Creating an app, creating something valuable, getting an audience behind it, creating brand loyalty, bringing value to your customers. Like this is something that's very difficult to do for one app, but a set of apps developed by the same team, they're all very different apps. That's a
I
huge hurdle to overcome.
feel like I've heard
But
of a
what I see
project
here are
doing
also
that
data
before.
capsules. Yeah, we've heard of a few, but there's one that comes to mind for sure.
Uh,
Um, cash flow. Okay, this here we go.
well,
We're
we
using
got
all the buzzwords here.
buyback and
Look,
burn.
look, even better though with buyback, burn, high yield. The downfall of Olympus DAO. The downfall of everything. High yield. Okay, so obviously, buybacks, burns. These are good ways to create some upward moving price action in your token. So, you're going to use funds that are coming into the treasury to buy back tokens in the open market. You're going to increase the demand for the token. You're going to burn and reduce the supply. You're going to increase the value of the token. But high yield, using treasury funds to buy GPT tokens and then distribute these to stakers to provide a generously high staking yield. Those are all very dangerous terms in and of themselves. And again, I don't want to dive so deep into that because we've seen those terms used before where they ultimately came out to be red flags. But one thing that's important to understand is that if you are buying tokens back from the open market and burning them and you're advertising that these are These are mechanisms for increasing your token price. You can't at the same time advertise token distributions because these are two opposing concepts. So kind of like creating a circular economy in some way.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked to see venture investments listed as a cash flow to GPT token as well. It seems like a misinterpretation of what that means.
Mm. So far, skeptical still, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
guess
then,
we're nearly running out of time if we want to honor the 10-minute time frame we allocated for
oh,
ourselves. But if you want to take a quick look at the socials real quick and see what we can get from a marketing perspective, just to round it out, and then we can give our verdict.
yes, I love this. But first, let's say we hit the 10-minute mark. I think we hit the 10-minute mark 1 or 2 minutes ago. Let's pass a quick judgment call and then continue a little bit more research and then see if it changes. So, right off the bat, based on what we saw with the website, the light paper, and the charts, what would you feel about this? Like, what would your next steps be?
Seems like there's a lot going to liquidity staking, market making, data mining incentives. It's a lot of centralized control when you rope in marketing in there as well, team partners and advisors. I don't really know what's going to community. I mean, 20% is a little bit low, no?
I think well, data mining incentives 25%. You're right. There is a lot of company control here. And well, I think we'd have to dive a little bit deeper into this because this one thing that this fails to do is you can take a pie chart and you could attach any names to any of the tranches in that pie chart that tells people what those tokens or how those tokens are being distributed. Those names don't actually tell us anything. There's no commitments on this official investor document that tells us what these labels mean. So if I were an advisor for CryptoGPT, and if they were struggling to get funding, or if maybe they wanted to complete some sort of OTC sale or something, I would advise them to create a little bit more clarity behind, like, what does this mean? Help your investors understand how these tokens may be used.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not even sure. There's obviously ways to tell, but based off of this alone, what the circulating supply is from launch or what that looks like. Like, I don't know if they're locked up in wallets or properly labeled, anything like that.
Well, we've got a little surprise for you, but the funny thing is there's no metrics here whatsoever. But yeah, before we continue, I'll go ahead and start, I guess, my judgment call. And then you can give yours. Maybe I might bias your judgment a little bit. Based on what we've seen right now, like in this, let's say 10 or 11 minute review, I probably would not consider investing in this. I would need to see way more, but I do love the idea of a scaling solution that uses any sort of privacy protocol like ZK technology or optimism technology. I love the idea of users being able to monetize their data. um, I have no idea how AI works into this whatsoever.
Yeah,
So, and the one thing that is concerning is that they've named their company Crypto GPT, and they use the words AI revolution, AI everything, but they have not described to me what is the actual AI algorithm process, whatever, what is it going to be doing to create some value in this technology.
exactly. Yeah, I wanted to say like if we're going off of the can you tell in let's say 15 minutes whether you would or wouldn't invest? Like the not sexy answer is no, I can't. Like I would obviously want to, if I could reach out to the team, ask questions, have a call. But if I have to make a judgment call just based off what I've learned in the last, 15 minutes, I'd say no, just based solely off the fact that they've they've indiscriminately littered AI over all of their pitch deck and documentation and website, and I still have no idea how that is incorporated into this at all. So based off that alone, it kind of scares me off as an investor at a VC because I'm aware of the trends, the big trends happening in blockchain and Web3 right now. I know AI is buzzing. Even outside of crypto, people are excited about AI. So the first thought that comes to mind is this is, just trying to ride that attention wave and as far as it goes. And maybe they'll pivot. Maybe AI for some reason loses popularity over the course of the year, and then they'll pivot more into like, just kidding. We've been a data solution this whole time. We're a data driven layer two ZK rollup. So who knows? I don't think I would invest, but obviously you and I both know that we would probably reach out to the team, try to get a hold of them, ask some more hard hitting questions, maybe scare them off with too many intense questions, as we're known to do. But that's my
Yeah,
judgment call.
I think there's a million other questions that we would have following something like this, and it's crazy that it's gained so much hype with such little like public accountable information. But I did promise a little surprise. This is in some sense like a completely separate analysis, but you know me, I'm a data wizard. I'm a data junkie and a nerd, and so I dove into some on-chain data analytics. I was trying to understand a little bit more, but before I show you, I just want to quickly revisit. Um, let's see, I think it's coin market cap. So in coin market cap, we see here like look at the 24-hour volume and the market cap. The volume to market cap ratio has been close to one, and in some days over one, almost two, which is insane for a crypto asset in this market. But what you see here is that the majority of the volume is on centralized exchanges. Like it's not, so difficult to believe. There's zero or no tr or low trading fees. So I wanted to kind of dive a little bit deeper. And so I've got like a few infographics I put together from the on-chain data, and this is from yesterday, so just one day old. But I was looking at the on-chain holder analytics and the on-chain transactions. So it's kind of something we would expect. A much greater population of token holders are on Binance Smart Chain or BNB Chain, I think it's called now. It's just more accessible, cheaper transaction fees, everything. This is quite common. But in all, for a project this hype and for a market cap this big, only I think 14,000 unique token holders on chain, which is quite low for a project that has a market capitalization of $300 million, fully diluted. The number of transactions, I think it's a hundred, I think 160, 170,000 total transactions. It's a good amount on chain. Obviously, transactions on
A lot of
centralized
trading,
exchanges, it's going to be a lot more, yeah. But there's a lot of trading, right? There's a lot of volume. So we dove a little bit
a lot of
deeper.
volume.
I was diving into the token transactions from the team after the minting event. And so, like, we look at that chart on the left, that is essentially a mock-up of the token distribution that we saw on the Lightpaper. One big concern I saw in the on-chain data is that there were no publicly doxed admin wallets. This is something that we've talked about before, token organization. When you mint a token supply, it's always good practice to distribute them according to the different tranches that are in your investor documents. Put them in a locked smart contracts, and also you can label them on EtherScan or BSC scan, just so that investors, both retail and institutional, know where the tokens are sitting, how they're sitting there, are they accessible. The token distribution that I saw in a number of undoxed admin wallets do not match anything close to what was advertised or marketed in the investor documentation. But what's even more concerning is that none of the tokens at all are in locked smart contracts. They're all in wallets, and they're all accessible by whoever owns those wallets. So technically, this project that has a market cap of 30 million with a fully diluted market cap of 300 million, this information may not be accurate because it seems like the tokens are 100% in circulation and accessible by the owners of these wallets. So that means whoever owns, you know, the majority of the tokens in these wallets, they can sell, they can dump those, and they can drain liquidity pools. So that is a huge, huge point of concern, something I would definitely recommend against doing if you are going to start a cryptocurrency project and mint a token.
I wonder if they even realize, or if anybody really realizes that. It's pretty surprising. I mean, obviously they
Yeah,
can
man.
change it, they can lock it up in a multi-sig wallet, but it's pretty alarming for sure.
Yeah, and so I wanted to get an idea after I saw that because I was trying to understand, like, okay, if all the tokens are in unlocked wallets, then technically it's all circulating supply. So, how decentralized is the circulating supply of the GPT token? And so, I was looking at like, okay, the top 1% of token holders, how much of the supply do they own? The top 1% of token holders own over 98% of the tokens. It makes me wonder like who owns these wallets and why have they not organized the tokens in like a good fashion or like an at least, somewhat organized fashion. And also, why are they not following what so like I'm trying to understand what I'm seeing on chain as far as the token transactions after the minting event, trying to understand if there would be any sort of ulterior motive or purpose or agenda in distributing tokens to different wallets back and forth. Some, kind of can't really find one. It just seems like maybe um, to some extent poor financial management. I might be wrong, but that's the judgment I want to pass after seeing some of it.
Yeah, I mean, like they could have nothing but the best intentions, and this is not to say that they're definitely going to dump tokens or rug or do something horrible, but it's definitely concerning and kind of lends credence to the fact that I wouldn't want to invest in it based off what I've seen so far.
Yeah, 100%. And then just some interesting exchange volume. So, you see a lot of exchange volume on Bybit. That's, I guess, not so surprising considering Bybit is one of the larger tier two exchanges. But this kind of helps us understand like where a lot of their target traders or the target audience is. Bybit, Gate, and MEXC. There is DEX on BNB chain, but there is no label for it, and it's not PancakeSwap. So that was a bit puzzling, but. Regardless, this is a kind of breakdown here so we can see like where the majority of transactions are happening.
Yeah, I mean, I have nothing to compare it to because I don't usually look at this type of data for every token, but it is certainly interesting. And I know Bybit and Gate are like pretty influencer heavy. They have like a lot of influencers that have referral links to trade on those exchanges. So it makes sense because I'm pretty sure I've seen CryptoGPT around. I mean, obviously, I haven't just heard of CryptoGPT today. We've been seeing mentions of it constantly on Twitter, and I think that's a result of a lot of KOL marketing, influencer marketing, whatever you want to call it. So it's not a surprise that those two exchanges are home to most of the volume occurring on chain.
Yeah, a lot of affiliate marketing for sure. And that may have had a hand here in influencing the volume that we're seeing there. But cool to see the breakdown nonetheless. Anyways, after I guess this is a little bit in depth of more in depth than a 10-minute analysis that we usually do for Arcanum eye tests. We had some data prepared. We wanted to do that because CryptoGPT is a high-profile token launch. It's garnered a lot of attention. We wanted to dive into it a little bit more. I hope we provided some good food for thought for everyone that's watching, but let's do another round. So how about after what we've seen now? My vote is nah. I think I'm going to stay away from this one. I definitely want to learn a little bit more about the technology itself. Stay tuned and learn more. But as far as like what I've seen on chain, the finances, etc., not a huge fan of what I've seen so far. What about you, Mello?
Yeah, I don't think my opinion has changed much. Obviously, we have more than 10 minutes or 15 minutes or now 20 minutes to look at stuff before we want to invest in it. But based off what I've seen in this video, no, I wouldn't invest. I am curious to keep an eye on this in the future and see how it does. And well, we never know. Maybe it becomes the next big thing. We're not always right.
No, we're
Far
not.
from it.
All right. Well, I think we're coming up on half an hour now. I think it's been a fun time trying to analyze a project like this, and I hope that we've offered some very valuable insights for all of our audience members watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you like this content. You guys are definitely the fuel that powers this machine in creating content like this. We hope that we can share some more lessons with all of you.
Yeah, especially comment below and let us know if we missed anything, what we're missing. Maybe we don't understand the concept in the short time we've been looking at it, but maybe we're totally wrong. So let us know. And any suggestions for next week, what project we should take a look at? Always welcoming suggestions. Thank you.